Okay, so I've got my Windows Server 2016 image built inside my Windows Server 2016 image. We're going back in the direction of tumbling down the rabbit hole, as it were. Notice that there's some things you can see. Let's compare, just for a moment, the Hyper-V Manager to this one. I can see almost nothing about it. I can see its MAC address, and that's really kind of all. I can also see that over here. Okay, interesting. Over here, strangely enough, it has a zeroed out MAC address, but I can see the IPv4 and IPv6 link local addresses that it had before. This 169.254 is a dead giveaway that it was looking for a DHCP server and could not find one. I haven't built one, so that's not a problem. So what we're going to want to do to create that VM template, the virtual machine template, we have to start with a VM. So we have the guest OS profile already. I can see those in my library. I've got my guest OS profile, my server base, my hardware profile. If I go back to my VMs and services, go back here, what I can do is click this. So click it, choose, instead, what I'm going to do is choose clone. This is really the only option available. So I'm going to call it server clone. And one thing I did was I gave it a generic name, basically Windows Windows 2016 base. Click next and configure my hardware. I'm going to choose my all hosts from the destination window. Okay, I'm going to choose my light duty hardware. And I'm going to click, let's see, click next. I'm going to choose all hosts. So if there were more Hyper-V servers that I was managing, this would go to all of them. And click next. I'm going to choose the name of, give it a minute, I'm going to choose the name of my host. Now, let's see. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this thing doesn't have enough memory. Okay, yeah. So that's kind of a problem. Strangely enough, yeah, that's weird. Because I know I have more memory than that. I might actually have to, what if I were to say bump this up to 12 gigs? That might help a lot. Settings. Let me see if I can load that. Let's see. Hold on, just a second. Okay, let me actually try to bump this up. Apply. Okay, it's not going to like that. Apply. Okay, so yeah, I can't do that while it's running. Darn. Close. Cancel. Never mind. Okay, so can't do that. In any case, so I have no rating. We'll have to get to that later. Let's see. Click next. Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to fix this. It literally won't let me do this. Okay, cancel. Yes. Okay, so I guess I'm going to have to shut this thing down and start over. Fun. Okay, good to know. Obviously, I thought I had enough room, but clearly I don't. Okay, so shut it all down. So I'm going to come back to this in just a minute. I'm going to give this thing, actually, what I have now available. this is what I've got what I've got to play with. So I'm not going to give this thing a ridiculous amount of memory. This is the only VM I'm running, and I've got it at 16. So I'm going to try to give this thing 12 gigs of RAM and see if that will make it happy. So I'm going to kind of come back to this in just a minute. So it is off. Close that. Close that. Shut this thing down properly. I'm going to give it hardware installation planned. That's as close as it gets. So we'll be right back. Okay, so the VM is off. I have no checkpoints. Now I can change that setting. I can crank it from 8 gigs to 12 gigs. And it is not in dynamic memory mode because I don't want to let it run completely nuts on me. See. Okay. Apply. Okay. Connect. Power it up again. And then I will see if this will work. And I'm going to pause for just a minute while it starts. Actually, you know what? Maybe I won't. Yeah, enter. Again, we have that little hollow square. That is essentially what my real cursor looks like. Hyper-V in place of a BIOS. And it is noticed that it has cranked me up to 12 gigs of RAM. I'll see if this will actually work. Okay, so it's back up, and I need to wait a little while because, as you can see from my dashboard, I've got 5 services pending. I've got my SQL server, which I need to wait for the System Center server to start. I need to wait for the SQL server to start. I don't really need OneSync or the Maps broker or some of this other stuff that's tied into the ADK. But these things, at least, I need to give it a little bit of time before I do anything. Then, once that is good and done, I can try to rebuild this OS. Now, the thing I would like to do is let's do Control Alt. Actually, no, leave that. The task manager, that's what I want, without fighting. So here's what I've got. I've got one of my 12 gigs running. Let's see if my Hyper-V manager will come up. Now, the Hyper-V manager, you may not need that. You may be able to start that before your System Center comes up. It's found my Windows 2016 server. Okay, and I've actually it actually sees that I've got 2 NICs. There's 10, 13, 37, 2. That's the static address on my secondary NIC. My DNS is good. Let's see, DNS. There really shouldn't be much in the DNS zone. Forward lookup zone, STC local. Yeah. Same device. Static addresses for both of these. So essentially, it's treating this IP address I'm getting from the hypervisor as a static address. Close that. Dashboard. Okay, I might actually have to. Okay, let's see if I can't start this. I'm going to go ahead and start the server service automatically. I might want to change that to a delayed start, though. With a start pending like this, I might be rushing things. The system might take several minutes to come up. So that being the case, I'm going to pause this for a minute. Okay, so the System Center VMM, of course, it's going to you can point it at the server you want. This is essentially the console. There's a server and the console. This is the console, and you can connect. I suppose because this is the only thing I've got running, I could have chosen automatically connect with those settings, and it would go through. And notice that something has started. Okay, the SQL server has started. Good, good. And it's thinking. And just as a reminder, these are the ports that it picked. 1800 is the VMM console port. 1801 is for PE. 1803 is also PE. 8102 deployment services. 5985 is host and library server communication. Okay. Okay, the server has not started yet, so I may have to force the issue. I may have to restart the service automatically. So actually, I can check that with services. Admin tools, services. This is why it's so important to know your way around things like this. I'll pause it again. And now I can see that my key services are running. The SQL Server service is running. My System Center VM Manager service is running. Manager Agent service also running. Some of these are actually running. This one is actually running as the VMM service account. So I can click OK. Connect again. Okay, so I'm going to very quickly create this clone, more or less following the process I used before. Next. Use the light duty profile. Next. All hosts, yeah. Choose. Okay, it's got a rating now. It may not work all that well, but at least it will work. Before it had that red X. Let's see. Next. And it's not going to connect it to anything. Next. Yeah, it's going to be server standard. Next. So it is, yeah. Create. Okay. So it's going to think for a minute. I'm going to pause it because we're running out of time. So now it's done. This is incidentally the job screen. We can see things it's done. That Warrender server clone is now exists. And the next thing I can do is use this as the basis for a template. We'll do that in the next video. Thanks. Thank you for watching and have a good day.